West Side shooting, what police know about the suspects and what witnesses are telling us about what happened.
Plus, we got new information showing the man accused in the Kickapoo Lucky Eagle Casino shooting lived in San Antonio. What neighbors who lived next to him are saying.
And a state takeover is looming. Some San Antonio area school districts are on edge. Why the clock is ticking if some scores do not improve.
Live from KSAT 12, Good Morning San Antonio starts right now.
Let's do another hour.
Yes.
RJ Marquez standing by. We'll get to him live. Traffic-related news to talk about here in just a few minutes.
I will say, walking outside, I see a lot of Halloween decorations going up, Justin. What is the best time of day for people to set that stuff up today?
Well, it's still the mornings and the evenings. Those are going to be kind of the prime time. And they have been very nice. There is no two ways around it. And that'll be the case this week. But the afternoons, pretty warm. We're going to see a lot more sun today, so that allows those temperatures to warm up. Yesterday, we stayed in the 80s because we had those thicker high clouds coming through. That is not going to be the case today. In fact, skies are already clearing as we speak, which is allowing temperatures to come down a little bit this morning. 68 right now in San Antonio, 65 in New Braunfels. We do have some 50s on the map as you get into the hill country. So 59 right now in Bernie. Great start, but as we said, things will warm up pretty rapidly. 86 in noontime, 89 at 1 o'clock, and eventually up to 93 with sunny skies this afternoon. Thankfully, humidity levels stay a little bit lower. But you know, the problem with that is we have low humidity, pretty dry vegetation at this point. Something we haven't talked about in a while, fire danger goes up later this afternoon. From the Texas A&M Forest Service, they are pointing out that parts of Barrett County and areas to the east with a pretty high fire danger this afternoon. Something we'll talk about and discuss in more detail coming up in just a couple of minutes. Ernie, what's going on the roads?
Okay, we do have an issue, and I might at some point get Mr. Horn to help me pull this up here. This is something that that RJ is going to talk about in just a little bit. A couple of traffic headlines. There we go. That he's going to talk about just about. Thank you so much. It's just, you're reading my mind. This is a brand new incident right now. A lot to see right now. Still not exactly sure what has happened here, but just from a let me get out of the way so you can see from a traffic perspective. We're down to, it looks like maybe one lane there, 410 at New Braunfels. That's the camera right now. So again, looks like there's some emergency vehicles there and maybe a flatbed truck or a tow truck, a hero truck out there. So again, we'll get more information on it, but wanted to make you aware of this in case your commute this morning is taking you in the 410 New Braunfels area. That is the big traffic hiccup right now, if you will. So stand by for an update on that. But on to RJ Marquez, who again normally would be in studio with us, but he's got some very important traffic news to tell us about as it relates to the west side this morning. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning, guys. Specifically the far west side of town. And what we're talking about is going to be Highway 90 and 211, a brand new turnaround that just opened up. I want to show you our look right now at Drive Cam, and something that Alex Gomez very astutely kind of pointed out to me right now is that I'm not sure how many people realize that this turnaround is basically open right now for all of our drivers that are coming on 90 West that are going to make their way over to 90 East. So you see those stoplights in front of you. A lot of folks are still going to that stoplight, trying to make a left, and then they're going to try and make a left on 90 East, when actually you could just kind of take this turnaround. That'll actually do the trick for you right now. So again, officially open. This is going to be 90 to 211. This is at 1604 past 1604 over by the Medina Valley area. And as I just mentioned, drivers are going to go west to east and just make this easier. So this should definitely alleviate the traffic situation out here for some of our folks that are making their way on 211 and 90. This is a big improvement project that's taking place along 90. A lot of work that's being done here, especially for all of our drivers that make their way to parts of Medina Valley High School. Also, a lot of our drivers that make their way onto parts of 211 and just kind of navigate through the Petranco area. So definitely something that is worth kind of reporting on and worth kind of highlighting the improvements that they're making out here on the far west side of town. So myself and Alex, you can see right here from Drive Cam, a little bit getting stuck in some of this turnaround traffic. This is going to be interesting to see how folks navigate through this, especially as we get through the rest of our morning hours. But it is open now, 90 at 211, a brand new turnaround for all of our drivers here on the far west side. Back to you guys.
All right, this morning, San Antonio police are investigating a shooting on the west side that sent a man to the hospital in critical condition. Now, at last check, we did call the police and the Bexar County Medical Examiner, and we're still waiting for another preliminary report to come in as far as seeing how he's doing this morning. But officers, again, called just after 9 last night to North Colorado and Ruiz. They found a man in his early 20s, shot multiple times in the neck, body, and the legs. He was rushed to the hospital. Witnesses told police that they saw 3 to 4 men running away on a nearby train tracks, but didn't actually see the shooting. No weapon was recovered, and there's still no suspect description. But police say that fortunately there are no threats to the community.
This morning, we are getting some updated information about the deadly shooting at the Kickapoo Lucky Eagle Casino near Eagle Pass. Maverick County Sheriff Tom Schmerber says 34-year-old Carrion Jones stepped out of his car Saturday night, grabbed a gun, and then came back inside, opening fire. 2 people were killed and 5 others were injured. So this morning, the suspect is now facing 2 counts of capital murder and 5 counts of aggravated assault. His bond is set at more than $4.5 million. So one of the victims, retired Customs and Border Protection agent Mark Antley, died outside the casino as he and his wife were leaving. She was also shot but survived.
About 12 stitches, and then the one where the bullet went in. It went in through here, came out over here.
Now, we are still pushing for more details from DPS, from the tribal police, and the Kickapoo Casino itself. Of course, it all happened near Eagle Pass, but we now know that Jones lived in San Antonio. And neighbors tell us he lived at this apartment complex on Patricia Drive near West Avenue and Blanco Road on the north side of town. They say multiple law enforcement agencies, including the FBI, raided his apartment unit on Sunday. Neighbors say they're still shaken from what happened.
When I heard it, I was panicked. Like, I was crying, I was screaming, like I couldn't handle it.
Now, again, there's a look at the suspect right there. We reached out to the San Antonio FBI field office for a statement about why they were searching his apartment and have not heard back yet as of late last night.
All right, this morning we had a San Antonio police officer trying to be reinstated to the police force after being placed on indefinite suspension. An arbitration hearing now underway and will continue later today for the officer Raul Rodriguez. The city says the police chief William McManus placed Rodriguez on indefinite suspension after an internal affairs investigation. City officials say that investigation looked into 8 documented allegations such as speeding, failing to write crash reports, and not following body cam protocols. It's the city's stance that McManus's decision was an appropriate course of action.
We're going to see a pattern of an officer not doing his job. It's not going to be some big event, but it is going to be a consistent display of neglect of duties throughout at least a 2-month period.
Chief McManus is expected to testify in this case.
A trial is expected to start today for a local woman caught on camera hitting a puppy multiple times. She appeared before a judge yesterday, and this is the video that is difficult to watch. Back in January, Animal Care Services confirmed that Havana Miller was seen in the video hitting her 3-month-old poodle with something. And Miller is accused of animal cruelty. During yesterday's pre-trial hearing, attorneys addressing the veterinarian who examined the puppy after the incident.
The history of what was provided regarding the pet's owner and was included, and the video as well that was provided, and then the information that the pet was at the ER.
So Judge Stephanie Boyd denied the motion to quash a subpoena, clearing the way for the veterinarian to testify.
Now let's get to some of your morning headlines at 6:08. Time is running out to avoid a government shutdown at midnight. Democrats and Republicans left a White House meeting with President Donald Trump yesterday, and there's still no sign of compromise this morning. Democrats want to extend health care benefits, including covering people who are in the country illegally, and they also want to stop premiums from spiking, but Republicans refusing to budge. If Congress doesn't pass a bill by tonight and the president doesn't sign it, most government offices will close and thousands of federal workers will be furloughed. For most Americans, though, that might affect customer service, food inspections, national parks, and more. However, Social Security payments to senior citizens and other Americans will continue. President Donald Trump laid out a 20-point proposal that would end the war in Gaza and free remaining hostages. It is supported by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who met with Trump at the White House. Hamas now reviewing the proposal, which leans heavily into conditions that the terrorists have previously rejected. The U.S. president has become increasingly frustrated by the conflict. Heads up, if you and your kids are using ChatGPT, the platform has new parental controls in place. Now, according to OpenAI, the parent company of the popular chatbot, it's an effort to make using the platform safer for teens. And here's how it works. The parent or teen can send an invitation to link the accounts, and from there to their settings that can be customized. Now, this includes options to limit graphic content, romantic role play, viral challenges, and extreme beauty ideas, to name a few. If the accounts are unlinked, parents are notified.
Outside with live cam at 609, 68 degrees. We've got mostly clear skies here in San Antonio right now. Lack of rainfall over the last 30 days is leading to a bit of a fire danger. We'll show you where coming up.
And coming up, actor Eric Dane's family speaks out after his ALS diagnosis. A first look at how his family is coping during this heartbreaking time.
And next, we got a new Texas law aims to keep child abuse deaths down. We'll hear from the advocate behind the bill to see how a new CPS advisory committee will make sure that these trends continue. 6:13 now. We got a new state law that aims to keep child abuse deaths trending downward. CPS investigators finally have a fewer cases, and experts say that the state moving past crisis mode.
So you might remember during the state legislative session, there was a bill that would create an advisory board to make sure that these numbers keep dropping.
Well, the bill, now law, so our Courtney Freeman caught back up with local advocate who wrote it to see what's next.
For the first time ever, the state of Texas will have an advisory committee overseeing CPS investigations and training. That's because of a new state law.
The advisory committee will be tasked with identifying what's working and what's not working, but also tasked with coming up with proposed solutions.
Local child welfare consultant and former CPS investigator Carrie Wilcoxon wrote the legislation. She says this will cement another law she wrote in 2023 that created new training standards for CPS investigators.
The tighter training standards weeded out some cases that maybe didn't need a full-blown investigation, but instead some parenting classes or economic help. That resulted in 20,000 fewer CPS cases, meaning investigators could focus on children that were in serious trouble. Now, some people worried that with fewer investigations, more kids would fall through the cracks, but the opposite happened. Child abuse deaths have been down for 3 years in a row, and now there's a new advisory committee that will make sure that that trend continues.
The advisory committee is going to help ensure that all of the different regions that are part of the department, that we're all doing it the same.
There will be 13 members on the committee.
Parents, frontliners, investigators, supervisors, regional directors, judges, attorneys that have represented both children and parents, DA's office.
Carrie wrote the law to make sure the board is well-rounded and people from all sides of child welfare have a say.
So this advisory committee just sounds like accountability.
It is accountability, absolutely.
Now, that was Courtney Freeman reporting. We got Wilcoxon writing another bill that passed session that also became law. It makes sure that parents who are being investigated are made aware of their rights to ensure that children aren't being removed from homes that aren't actually dangerous. And of course, you can read more about this law at KSAT.com.
All right, 6:16. Before we get out to RJ and Alex Gomez, wanted to bring you back to this situation here. So we're getting a little more indication. Let me show you, kind of scoot out of the way here to show you the traffic impact right now. It looks like it's down to about 1 lane. Essentially, this is 410. The camera's at New Braunfels, but this is closer to Nacogdoches as well. Reports of not only construction, but a minor accident there. And I know it's dark and difficult to see, but anyway, we know there's some construction barrels and some what look like construction vehicles, but again, it looks like it's both. It's a construction and a minor accident, and we'll pull it up on the map here to show you. It's this patch of red right here right now, and if I advance this, we'll see if it'll zoom in a little bit more. No, it's going to talk about the Chris Brown concert from the other day. So disregard that because Chris Brown already showed up. But nonetheless, 410 again near Nacogdoches. That's the minor accident in the construction right now. So we'll keep an eye on that. Let's get back outside to our RJ and Alex Gomez in Drive Cam to get us caught up on what they're seeing out there and some big traffic headlines that are happening this morning. And once again, RJ, your job is very safe here because I'm not very good at this.
I think you guys are doing great, Ernie. Did want to add though real quick that that traffic backup is basically going all the way to Harry Wurzbach Road. So for all of our folks over by Salado Creek, just do expect some activity there. Not only Harry Wurzbach, but obviously Nacogdoches, as you guys kind of pointed out earlier, and New Braunfels. Of course, 410's an area that a lot of folks use. But we are right now on the far west side of town, so I'm going to go ahead and switch us over to Drive Cam and just kind of navigating through this one stretch right here where we are continuing to see this is going to be the area that we see some of the most traffic buildup during our rush hour periods. Myself and Alex just made our way through West Montgomery, Grossenbachers, a lot of those streets that are familiar to a lot of folks on the far west side of town. So it took us about 10-15 minutes to kind of make our way through here. But the reason we're out here is because there's a brand new turnaround open at 90 and 211. And we're going to circle back around that way and kind of give you more updates on that as we get closer to our 6:30 half hour. But be safe on the roads, everyone. Back to you guys.
RJ, thank you. Let's take a look at the fire danger that we have in place today. And this is kind of something we haven't talked about in a while, but the fire concerns return. And part of that is due to just lack of rainfall. I mean, you know how it's been. Some places have been doing really well. This area from San Antonio over to LaGrange and Austin, this kind of triangle right here. This is a spot where we just have not got a lot of rain, especially over the last 30 days. So if you look at the fire danger forecast today from the Texas A&M Forest Service, we are in the very high category here across Bexar County, which means that fires can get started. Now, I don't know that they would spread, rapidly because we don't have super strong winds, but just the risk of a fire getting started is fairly high today just because of our current situation. So let's take a look at the rainfall total since August 31st. So basically over the last 30 days here, and you can see this kind of hole where we just have not got a lot of rain. If you look at the vegetation, it's all kind of brown and crunchy, and that's what leads to that fire threat. And as we get into the fall, I just want to remind everyone that we start to get cold fronts, which bring gusty winds. If the cold front does not bring rain with it, then that really picks up the fire situation. Not considering too that we get lower humidity with these fronts, so that just adds to it. And then of course we have the dry fuels, which is already occurring. So fall can often be a bad fire stretch for us, and I just want to remind everyone of that. Dew points play into this too. We got low dew points this morning in the mid-50s. That allows temperatures to drop, but will also allow us to warm up pretty quickly. 93 is where we end up a little bit later this afternoon. And by the way, very quickly, our last 90-degree day last year was November 4th. The last several years, it's been in October. If you average it all out, our last 90-degree day is usually somewhere in late October. But I will tell you this, we have a lot of 90-degree days in this 7-day forecast. In fact, each and every day, low 90s expected through the weekend and going into next week. All right, Just Ask Justin this morning has to do with space yet again. And what I'm asking you here is, which planet has the shortest day, completing one rotation in just under 10 hours? So basically, I'll give you a hint here. Earth, obviously, 24-hour day. So this one has a much shorter day. Go to KSAT.com/poll, scan the QR code, vote. Let us know what you think.
Maybe some people wish that Earth just got a bump. Maybe some people wish, maybe it's just wish that there was a 10-hour day.
It was a shorter day. That's fair.
I guess. Okay, Justin, thank you so much.
Okay, I'm still trying to process that, but we'll get there. 621 right now, 68 degrees outside.
So Eric Dane's family breaks their silence after his ALS diagnosis. Up next, we got a first look at his wife as she talks about the heartbreak and how their teenage daughters are struggling to cope.
In this morning's GMA First Look, an update on actor Eric Dane.
All that matters is people, and whether we walk away leaving them better.
Actress Rebecca Gayheart is opening up about her husband Eric Dane's ALS diagnosis. In an interview telling People magazine, it's heartbreaking, saying their two teenage daughters are really suffering and we're just trying to get through it. It's a tough time. Dane revealing the diagnosis to Diane Sawyer in his first TV interview in June.
I have one functioning arm. My dominant side
is your right side?
Yeah, my left side is functioning. My right side is completely stopped working.
And then your left arm is fine?
No, it's going.
And coming up at 7 a.m., more from the actor's family. With your GMA First Look, I'm Maggie Rulli, ABC News, New York.
6:25 right now, 68 degrees outside.
All right, coming up, what led a San Antonio police officer to be suspended and what is happening next? How his case to return to the force is unfolding later on today.
And coming up, we got Hunt volunteer firefighters sharing what it was like on the ground during the July 4th flood and how they're changing training and procedures to be ready next time.
Live from KSAT 12, Good Morning San Antonio starts right now.
And good morning again, starting your Tuesday off, coming up on 6:30, and hey, 68 degrees outside. Not
Indeed.
bad.
Getting ready to close the book on September, if you can believe that.
We are entering October tomorrow.
And you would never know it. It's still very warm. Yeah, it's still going to be in the 90s, but the mornings have been nice, and that today is no exception. We're in the 60s right now. We lost all that cloud cover that we had yesterday, so it's going to be a far more sunnier day, which is going to lend itself to some warmer temperatures. But if you're heading to the bus stop this morning, yeah, we're starting off in the 60s, not bad. It's not jacket weather. You can stick with the short sleeves and shorts. But by this afternoon, it certainly will be hot. After school practice will be very toasty, 92 when the bus comes back home, sunny and hot. Sunrise this morning will be at 7:27, sunset at 7:20. Total hours of sunlight, daylight, we are now below 12 hours, 11 hours, 53 minutes. The sunrise, we're still about an hour away from that. All right, out in the tropics, Umberto and Imelda still going. We're going to give you an update on where these are headed. It's basically out to the ocean, but we'll give you the latest update from the Hurricane Center here in just a couple minutes. All right, let's switch over to traffic now, and we'll show you what's going on with TransGuide. Now, we did have an issue here earlier at 410 in New Braunfels. That has since gone away, and we're seeing less in the way of activity there now. In fact, the barrels have been picked up, so construction's gone, and whatever crash was there is now gone. So as we look at the big map here, it's still showing that incident at 410 in Nacogdoches, but again, I believe that to have been cleared. We'll take you, though, up to the northeast side there. Some slowing on the northbound lanes of I-35 as you cross over 1604. That is construction related. Of course, that is always a place that gets a bit congested, but thankfully not a lot of issues out on the roads this morning. RJ and Alex are on the roads as we speak. Let's check in with them and see what's going on where they are.
Yeah, that's right, Justin. And again, part of the reason that we're outside the studio this morning hanging out with my guy, Alex Gomez, is that we are on the far west side where they have opened up the brand new turnaround on 90 at 211. So I'm going to go ahead and show you that. I'm hanging out in Drive Cam this morning. You're taking a look at this brand new turnaround. And the one thing that I'm kind of noticing right off the bat is that some of our drivers may not be aware that this turnaround is open. It is open. It just opened yesterday afternoon. It's basically taking you from 90 west over to 90 east without having to go through those stoplights that you see right there ahead of you. So Alex is now getting us moving on this brand new turnaround. You're going to see that's going to take us to 90 east. And a very important part of this, obviously, is that this is going to alleviate a lot of the traffic that we see that tries to make its way to 211. A lot of folks make their way to 211 that try to get up to Petranco Roads as well, or a lot of our drivers that make their way over to Medina Valley High School as well. Because, guys, just from what we've seen over the past 30 minutes or so, traffic is definitely a bit of a mess out here on 90. And for all of our drivers that are familiar with some of the activity out here, you kind of already know the deal. So here's going to be where we wrap up that turnaround. That's going to take us onto 90 east. But look at the backup that we're seeing at this moment. About a 15-20 minute delay already for many of our drivers in this area. So again, we're going to stay on top of this. This is good news. I mean, with the amount of traffic that we obviously see here on a daily basis, morning rush hour, evening rush hour, but this is some good news here. The turnaround at 90 at 211 is now open for drivers over here on the far west side. Back to you guys.
Alrighty, sir, thank you very much. So imagine you're a first responder, and then when disaster strikes, you're the one who needs to be rescued.
Now, that's what happened to many of the Hunt Fire Department volunteers on July the 4th. Patty Santos tells us how it all started for one of those volunteers.
It's well used at this point.
On July 4th, Hunt volunteer firefighter John Barone woke up to thunder and lightning.
Woke up about midnight, little after midnight. The flashes were so close together, it was just like there was a spotlight in my house. It was just incredible. And when the rain started at that intensity, it didn't stop. It just went on for hours. I called into the chief, and he was stuck on Schumacher Crossing. He couldn't move. And I said, I can't get to you. I can't get to the station. He goes, John, the devastation here is biblical.
It would be days before he and other firefighters could get to the main fire station.
The biggest frustration is we were getting reports, of people stuck on houses and stuff like that with no way to get to them. When I say there was an ocean between us, that's what I'm telling you. There was an ocean, and there was no way to get to anybody, and you couldn't launch a boat. You couldn't do anything. This was a tidal wave event, if you will.
The Hunt Fire Department, did you guys get any warning?
No. The first indication I had was when I woke up and I knew we had something going on. But until our phones went off, that was our first indication that we had some trouble here in Hunt.
And Barone wants the people of Hunt to know that they are making significant improvements to make sure that they are prepared next time. If you want to support the Hunt Volunteer Fire Department, there is a benefit concert happening October 18th in Bernie. Organizers are looking for corporate sponsors. You can head to KSAT.com right now and search Hunt for information.
All right, Patty, thank you for that. We are learning more this morning about the death of a congressional staffer for U.S. Representative Tony Gonzalez. The Uvalde Leader News is reporting that a volunteer fire department document says Regina Santos Aviles had doused herself in gasoline and was ignited into flames. The paper also says firefighters put out a burning gas can in her backyard. Last week, Uvalde police told us that Santos Aviles was alone when she caught on fire, and they don't believe anyone else was involved. This happened on September 13th outside her home in Uvalde. She died from her injuries the next morning.
A federal judge has dismissed the wrongful death lawsuit filed by the family of Melissa Perez. She's the woman who was shot and killed by San Antonio police while experiencing some kind of mental health crisis. Now, the ruling comes just over a week before the 3 officers named in the case are scheduled to go to trial. Perez inside her apartment in June 2023 when officers shot her. She later died from her injuries. Now, former officers Eliezer Alejandro and Alfred Flores face murder charges, while Nathaniel Villalobos is charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. The judge's decision follows a recommendation months ago by another federal judge to dismiss the claims. A Bexar County Sheriff's deputy under arrest accused of assaulting his wife. According to KSAT records, he's the 11th deputy to be arrested this year. San Antonio police say that officers responded to the home of Benjamin Ramos III, where his wife reported that he hit her multiple times. She suffered bruises, swelling, and a broken blood vessel in one eye. Ramos was taken into custody and charged with assault of a family member. And another arrest of a public servant for family violence, this time San Antonio firefighter. SAPD records show that Michael Anthony Hernandez Jr. was arrested on a charge of assaulting a family member. He's since been released, but SAFD says that Hernandez is a member of their EMS division and has been placed on administrative duty pending an investigation. Now, we do want to take time to remind you that if you or someone that you know is in an abusive relationship, you do not have to stay that way. This right here is a QR code that's going to send you to a list of different resources that we've compiled on our website at ksat.com/domestic violence. Again, you can get to that page by scanning that QR code on your screen.
All right, more headlines for you. Charges have been downgraded for 2 teen brothers accused in the deadly April shooting of 14-year-old Simon Cuevas near an SAISD alternative school. The district attorney's office told KSAT that based on the evidence, the charges have been reduced from capital murder to assault with bodily injury. The brothers remain in custody as the case moves forward. And take a look here right in the middle of the screen, caught on camera. Actually coming up here in a minute. There it is, an aerospace company in Briggs, Texas. There was a massive explosion that unfolded right there. This is a surveillance video from a business close to Firefly Aerospace, capturing the moments that part of a rocket blew up during pre-flight testing. You see the massive fireball followed by that large cloud of black smoke. smoke. No one was on board the company's Alpha Flight 7 rocket, which is based in Cedar Park. Firefly officials said proper safety protocol was followed and there were no injuries. The company is assessing the impact to that launch site. And paper checks from the federal government are about to be a thing of the past. The Treasury Department plans to stop issuing paper checks for most payments beginning today. That includes to Social Security beneficiaries. The Trump administration's effort to fully modernize federal benefits payments will also hopefully save money and fight financial fraud. The change will also affect how the IRS issues tax refunds. All right, looking ahead to next month, which of course starts tomorrow. We hope you join us Saturday, October the 11th at the Rocket La Cantera for Light the Night.
Hundreds of lanterns will illuminate the sky to celebrate, honor, and remember people impacted by blood cancer. Our Daniela Ibarra is emceeing the event, and we have more information that you can find at ksatcommunity.com.
All right, outside with Live Cam, it is 6:39, 68 degrees. We have clearing skies here in San Antonio. Great start to your day. We're going to look at the Allergen calendar coming up. Ragweed's getting to a lot of people. We'll tell you how long it's going to hang around and when it might go away. Coming up.
And some San Antonio school districts could soon face a state takeover. Why the Texas Education Agency is watching their next move.
And next, we got a dangerous intersection on the far east side getting some major improvements. Up next, why the can opener has caused so many problems for drivers.
Good morning, San Antonio. I'm Devin Karp, and have you ever driven through the can opener over on the far east side of San Antonio? And no, I'm not talking about the thing that gets you food. I'm talking about the nickname given to an intersection by neighbors and first responders over at Loop 1604 and Shoeworth Road. I first told you about this story back in June, an intersection that had earned a reputation for being a bad spot for crashes and got that nickname of the can opener because of the amount of cars that had to be cut into after a bad wreck in order to help someone inside. Neighbors in the area voiced their frustration with me about the design of the road and the growing traffic in the area, wanting to see a full traffic light put in across the way. Now there's been an update. While a light hasn't yet been installed, there seems to be some new cones set out there to stop drivers from crossing across the intersection. Here's what some neighbors in the area had to say about how dangerous it could be to do so back in June.
But we've seen a lot of deadly accidents, a lot of majors. It's kind of hard to cross. I mean, even though those blinking lights are there, it's like if people don't even pay attention to them.
I was blown away. I went home, I told my wife about it, I told my kids, my kids are just starting to drive. I said, you don't need to be out here because this is the kind of thing that happens. I'm so worried.
Back in June, we learned there were 138 crashes in the area since 2016, and now, as of today, there's about 148. Later this morning, I'm going to be out there at the intersection speaking with neighbors about some of their concerns they still have, but hearing their thoughts about the new improvements over there, making sure that everyone has the opportunity to get home safe. For now, I'm Devin Karp, KSAT 12 News.
All right, 4 San Antonio area school districts are now at risk of a state takeover. The Texas Education Agency says Edgewood, Northside, San Antonio ISD, and Judson all have campuses with poor state ratings.
So under the rules, if a school fails for 2 years, it must submit a turnaround plan. And after 3 years, that plan has to be put into action. Now, districts like East Central and Harlandale aren't there yet, but they do have to draft plans. If lower ratings continue, the state could appoint a conservator to direct the local school board or superintendent, which is the decision expected later this year.
All right, quick check of traffic. We're looking at some of the TransGuide cameras here. We're starting to see congestion across the city. This is I-35 and I-37 downtown. That's a place that typically we start to see some slowdowns. This is further back down 37, and you can see how the congestion is kind of getting started here. 410 at Blanco Road. Also an area that typically gets congested. We're seeing some of that. And very quickly, I'll take you out to the northeast side where we continue to see quite a bit of congestion up around I-35 and 1604. And we'll get there eventually. I think we've gone through every TransGuide shot there. But this is downtown 35 at Flores. Also seeing some congestion here. I'll take you to the maps very quickly. And I'll show you what we're seeing as far as any sort of slowdown across the city. And there are several spots starting to see that. But one notable spot is here on the far west side where we're seeing some of the congestion before you get to 1604 as you come inbound. So let's check in with RJ. I think he's out in some of that congestion. RJ, what are you seeing?
Yeah, Justin, we are right now. Myself and Alex Gomez in Drive Cam, and you could see that obviously this is going to be a very populated area when it comes to a lot of our drivers that are making their way past 1604. We just passed West Montgomery right now, and the reason we're out here, of course, they're opening up that brand new turnaround at 90 at 211, so that's good news for all of our drivers here, but that doesn't really kind of alleviate some of the traffic that we see kind of making their way east once you get past 1604. I know you mentioned a couple different things, Justin, across our area. Right now, northeast side, we're looking at Evans Road where there are reports of a potential accident there, and also over by Kitty Hawk on 1604. That's probably why you're going to see some of the activity on the northeast sides of town. And another reminder for all of our drivers in the downtown area, 35, the northbound lanes have reopened over by South Laredo and South Alamo Streets, but they have shifted that work over to the southbound lanes of 35, basically at 35 and 10. So you will see that switch. Myself and Alex Gomez, we drove by there earlier this morning, so keep that in mind in the downtown area. And of course, we're going to continue to follow everything when it comes to your traffic, making sure that you guys stay safe in your morning commute. Guys, back to you.
RJ, thank you. And let's take a look at the pollen count. This was yesterday's, but ragweed was moderate at 350 at top of the list. Now, we had some people asking, why are molds at 410 low and ragweed at 350 moderate? Because they're on two different scales. I do want to point that out. Ragweed, once it gets above that 300 threshold, it technically is at moderate levels. Molds can go a little bit higher before it reaches a quote-unquote moderate level. So I did need to point that out. But ragweed has been the problem as of late. And you look at the hours and calendar, we are right smack in the middle of ragweed and fall elm season, although fall elm's kind of fallen off as of late. So ragweed has been the main offender here. And do note that ragweed lasts typically until our first freeze. It sticks around. So until we see one of those really cold nights, we're going to have ragweed in place. And ragweed thrives in breezy, warm, dry conditions, which is kind of what we have right now, other than it's not super breezy. But ragweed is, again, probably going to stay elevated for a while here. We'll keep you posted with that. All right, let's go out to the tropics now. Umberto and Imelda still there. Category 2 storm with Umberto, which has weakened significantly from where it was, but still packing a punch. And it's kind of lopsided, so we know it's taking on some wind shear. Imelda now starting to take that northeast turn, and by the way, it's on the verge of becoming a hurricane, so we likely will have two hurricanes at once out here in the Atlantic fairly soon. Umberto is picking up its pace, and these are not really going to intersect, quote unquote, because by Wednesday, Umberto will be up here and Imelda will be back where Umberto kind of started, right? But they are fairly close and they are interacting in some way, although both of them get pulled out into the ocean and both will weaken eventually. So this is good news for the Carolinas and the East Coast. There's not going to be big impacts there. All right, I want to show you the sunset last night. Incredible. It looked like the sky was on fire. Did you see that? It was great. We got a lot of good pictures in on KSAT Connect. This is just one of many. We appreciate it. Those clouds created a beautiful sunset last night. We have less clouds this morning, so sunrise will still be nice, but maybe not as colorful. 68 degrees at the airport, 65 New Braunfels, 67 in Converse, 57 right now in Bernie, so a cool start. And those clouds, yes, are shifting east and away from the area, so we're going to see a sunny day today, which will get those temperatures into the 90s for highs. 93 here in San Antonio, 95 Converse, 93 in Hondo later today. A warm stretch for sure coming up as we get into October. Every day in the 90s, every morning in the upper 60s. So we're pretty consistent here in our 7-day forecast. All right, let's go to our Just Ask Justin question. And it has to do with the planets. And I asked you, which planet has the shortest day, completing one rotation in just under 10 hours? Votes are in. The viewers say Jupiter. You guys want to guess?
I'm with the viewers, man.
You're going to ask the audience.
I am.
So I told you, I heard a video the other day which talked about Jupiter spins so fast, which is part of the reason why the great big red spot has been able to churn for hundreds of years.
My man Ernie with the
Neil,
info
thank you,
here.
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
You are right. It is Jupiter, and the audience is right. Planets spin at different speeds due to various reasons like conservation of angular momentum, gravitational interactions, and so on and so forth. But the longest is Mercury. It has its day is 1,400 hours, or 58 Earth days. The shortest is Jupiter, just 10 hours.
Good lordy. Okay.
So there is quite a difference in lengths of day depending on what planet you're on.
Seriously.
6:51 right now, 68 outside.
All right, coming up next hour on GMSA Plus, time is ticking down to when a decision will be made on Project Marvel, where you can go later today to get some of your questions answered by the City Council.
Backwards a look at the weather. Welcome back to Good Morning San Antonio. Myself and Alex Gomez in Drive Cam, checking things out on the far west side of town. We're going to be talking about this new turnaround on 90 at 211, but also want to let you know a lot of activity this morning on the northeast side of town. Also now reports of an incident on 410 at Ingram. We're going to have it all for you coming up on GMSA Plus. Justin, how are we looking outside?
Well, we got clear conditions, RJ. It really is a beautiful morning. Temperatures are in the upper 60s. We'll start to see our numbers rise into the 70s by 9 a.m. and by noontime, we'll be at 86. Clear skies today. It is going to be warmer because we'll have full sun and it's still some fairly low humidity, 93. But as we said, keep in mind there is a bit of a fire danger today as vegetation continues to dry out from this lack of rainfall. We officially go into October tomorrow, 94, and then temperatures very consistent as we head into the weekend. Highs in the low 90s, lows in the 60s, and partly cloudy skies by the end of the work week and into the weekend, guys.
Well, in the midst of your weather and traffic, we're also staying on top of your headlines, including learning new information about the man accused in the Kickapoo Lucky Eagle Casino shooting.
Apparently had ties to San Antonio, where he was living when all of this happened. Coming up next hour.